Okay, moving right along, our next presentation is Surrounding Opportunities with the Business Improvement Districts. I would like to introduce Anthony Capece of the Central Avenue BID, Cassie Franklin and Patrick Noonan of the Lark Street BID, and Georgette Steffens of the Downtown Albany BID. Thank you very much.
Well, thanks for having us here. We really appreciate the opportunity to come out. Just out of curiosity, how many people in this room know what a business improvement district is? Oh, nice. For those of you who don't, they are actually special taxing jurisdictions in the city of Albany. There are 3. Each one of them is very unique. Each one is a little bit different, and they all have a different feel or lifestyle with them. Combined, I think we represent nearly 1,000 businesses in the city of Albany. They range in size from large car dealerships, Home Depots, to little mom and pop shops, hotels, everything you can think of. In my district alone, I think what you're talking about is we have 4 major grocery stores, we have nail salons, we have scene display companies, we have rock climbing walls, we have places where you can hang from the ceiling and do yoga for some strange reason, I'm not quite sure why. I tried it, and they're still working on the building. It needed a little work. Anyway, what we combined wanted to leave you with today is just an idea of the valuable resources that are here in the community in Albany that we represent. And we have a short video to help you with that. But as the conversation went today, I think what we wanted to leave you with is some of those things that people were saying. When somebody comes to visit town, we want them to say, oh, I found this really cool little restaurant up the street, or I visited this neat little place. And that's kind of what we want to be for the folks who come to town, and also be a resource for you. But in this particular case, our presentations are short. We don't have a lot of time. I'm going to introduce Georgette. Georgette, you want to come up and say hi? Sure.
Thank you. So first of all, I wanted to say happy birthday to Gina Mincer. Today is her birthday, so I didn't want the day to go by without wishing her happy birthday. Oh, and Carrie's birthday is today too? All right, 2 wonderful Albany women having birthdays today. So I represent downtown Albany. Sarah Reginelli did talk a lot about the development that's happening in downtown. We are quickly becoming Albany's newest residential neighborhood, which is really exciting. It's starting to change the type of retail businesses that we're seeing. Restaurants are changing their model to really meet the needs of what a residential population wants versus a daytime worker or a nightlife person that comes to enjoy downtown Albany's nightlife. And we're hoping that with the continued growth, we have, as of August, we're going to have 110 residential units that will come online. They'll be available August 1st. So that's going to start to attract new retail. So a lot of what we get beyond the grocery store question is what's happening with retail, and where can the conventioneers that come in, our visitors, where can they shop? And so we're hoping that with the increase in visitors, as well as the residents that we're seeing, that will continue to grow our residential offerings in downtown. But one exciting thing that's been happening is the conversions of some of our old historic buildings to event space. So we have incredible bank buildings that just are not quite built like that anymore, and they've been turned into event spaces for weddings, for evening receptions. Those might be an opportunity for some of the event planners here to think about those. We have wonderful parks. This Friday, we're actually holding an event out in one of the parks under a great tent, and the views and the backdrop of the Historic Palace Theater in your event, you just can't get that anywhere else. And speaking of the Historic Theater, we also have the 3 major entertainment venues in the Capital Region right in downtown, all within walking distance to the Convention Center complex, the Capitol Center complex, and the only repertory theater just outside of the next one, I think, is in Boston. So to have live public theater is really a great thing. So I don't want to talk too much because we have a video. When you're working with Anthony, if you know Anthony, he's an audio visual guru, or geek, as we like to call him. So it's good to have him on your side because he actually put most of our presentation together. So I'll turn it over to Patrick. Hopefully what you'll see in the video is the difference between our neighborhoods, our our commercial districts, but that also they're all within walking distance of the complex. And so one of the things that we've been talking about is how do we collectively as a group advertise that? How do we market it? Do we not just think in our own individual silos, but look at it from a visitor's perspective, and they're going to want to see the whole city, and so how do we begin to make that happen? So, Patrick.
Thank you, Georgette and Anthony. And like the mayor mentioned, what story does Albany tell? It's a great story. I've lived here my whole life, and Lark Street is one of the best chapters of that story. Lark Street needs no introduction. It's long been one of the hip neighborhoods in Albany. And like the city itself, Lark Street is very much changing. And if you look closely, you can witness the rebirth of cool on Lark Street. As chairman of the Lark Street Bid Board, owner of a restaurant, properties within the bid footprint, I, along with the 80 businesses in the corridor, can attest that although we've had our fair share of challenges, we're looking very much forward to the future. And as Georgette mentioned, this is about working together, not our own separate neighborhoods, which we certainly need to look out for, but how can we collaboratively make the city a better spot? As I mentioned, there's 80 businesses on Lark Street. There's restaurants, there's shops, there's something for everyone. It's literally right up Madison, right up State Street. So the convention center will very much be a part of the fabric of our future. We have some great new young business owners, most of which are in their young 30s on the street, which means that there's a lot of long-term investment coming to the street. There's approximately 10,000 residents in the Center Square, Lark Street area. That's a lot of income. That's a lot of disposable income to spend on the street. Obviously, many of you know about the historic brownstones. That makes you feel like you're literally in New York City, in one of the neighborhoods in New York City. We are the heart of Albany, as we like to think anyway. There's a lot of positive energy. It's an eclectic area. It's really a great spot that has everything for everyone, from shopping to dining to nightlife to the arts, bars, nightclubs, restaurants, karaoke, mostly bad karaoke, but it is a one-of-a-kind experience for everyone. And we're excited to work with our fellow bids and the city, as well as the ACCVB, to encourage visitors to take that short walk up State Street, up Madison, however you get there, to the urban hotspot and feel the heartbeat of the capital city. So with that, we'll start the video. All right. Thank you.
for the people.
It's the food.
Geek, huh, Georgette? I remember that one. So basically, you got a little bit of a taste of these different business districts, and we did put all that food in there because it's about lunchtime, so we kind of figured we'd tease you a little bit. So where are you going to go for lunch today? But I wanted to, and Georgette, you can point out your folks, you know, we've kind of teased you a little bit with everything that we have in our districts, and if you're looking for, and I think it was mentioned earlier about local expertise in just my district, and I can't speak for the other guys, we have 19 nations represented in food, okay, and there's nearly 80 places to eat, okay, on the 3-mile stretch of Central Avenue. So multiply that by the 3 associations. There's a lot of expertise and a lot of cool destinations to send visitors to see. I want to point out, so you know who to contact if you need anything, because she's much better at responding than I am. And Molly, where are you hiding? Molly Belmont is our marketing person. So I want to point out the marketing people in our organizations are vital important to you folks. So if you have a need and you want information, materials, events planned, all the marketing people are the folks you want to talk to. And
Sure. So Marquita and Rebecca, if you guys could just raise your hand and stand up. Those are our marketing and communication folks. And I did want to say, we have a new downtown Albany map. It just has restaurants, retail-related services, hair salons, banks. So this is a great tool. We'll be getting them out. If we haven't gotten them to your hotel already, we will make sure that you receive them. But as you're planning events, this is a really great opportunity. And I think, while we're open to questions, I think more what we want, or what I need at least, is how do we get the information to your hotel guests, to your conventioneers? We're in the process of, we're just starting redoing our website. What information should we be having that currently isn't there or that you can't find? We need that feedback so that we're ready to meet the needs of the folks that are coming. So I'm open both now or afterwards. If anyone has ideas, please let me know.
contact
Yeah,
the
I
office.
just want to second that. Cassie Franklin in our office, there you are. Same deal. We would love your input, not to one-up you, but we're working on a Lark Street app, mostly because that's our audience in the Lark Street area. So to the gentleman's point earlier about a central location to find everything and anything about a certain district or part of the city, that's what it's going to be designed to be. Again, we would love input on routes, preferably walking. We're looking to be part of the bike share programs. All these revolutionary things that are coming to the U.S. as a whole and to our district. Lark Street is really on the kind of cutting edge in terms of getting people to use these resources, whereas in years past maybe they haven't. So,
We have time for questions? If anybody has any questions, we'll be glad to answer them, or answers would be good too. So the question is, because we have defined boundaries, how can we work with folks outside of our defined boundaries like the Institute? I can speak for myself and Georgette, but we do work with people outside of our district on many different levels. So it's just a matter of us making that connection. We've done some events down there in the past. It's been a while. We probably should do it again. But that's basically, our job is to bring people into our districts and make them vital. So the idea is of all we need to know is who we should contact, and that'll start to happen, and I'm sure.
As long as there's no limitations on your end, that's awesome.
Well, so there are, for us, our policy is that if you're a nonprofit visitors attraction, then we will. We are bound by how we're set up, and so for-profit businesses that are not in the district, that do not pay, we can advertise, but we do often advertise events happening at the Institute, the U.S., the Slater, at the State Museum, and so we understand that most of the visitors that are coming and are staying in downtown, the visitor attractions are not directly in our district. So any of those nonprofit entities, we do advertise on our website with those events, and so we're looking to grow that relationship, like with Tenbrook Mansion, Historic Cherry Hill, and that will be, I think, sort of part of what we're talking about how are we partnering within the limitations of the law of how we're funded. But nonprofits are very different than that. Is that okay?
Yeah.
So just a quick point. One of the big things to remember is what Chris Spencer said with the rezone Albany. We're going to try and have input in terms of bid overlays to where maybe it's not based on, or you're not part of the assessment, but in terms of the way we promote the area or the way we interact with each other, that would be a huge part of it. So I know that's coming down the pipeline. So, yeah.
So basically, to answer any other questions, we're very creative people, and we're a
And
lot of
big on
fun.
partnerships.
And big on partnerships because we have limited budgets just like everybody else. So I think that's all of our time.